Hey, this is Adam with Semantic Mastery. We wanted to give a little bit of an overview on what it is that Serp Shaker does. It's something that we use in our own businesses and that we've talked about on webinars before. But one of the questions that we've seen come up a lot is, what does Serp Shaker do? So we're going to take a few minutes and go through it. This isn't an in-depth, detail-oriented one. This is more of an overview. We will be coming out with some additional videos that go into some of the details of using it to build out sites. So if that's what you're looking for, either there should be something in the description, or just check out our channel and go through the videos as well as some of the webinars. Alright, so here we go. So when we first started using, or heard actually of Serp Shaker, it had been around for a little bit, obviously, but it was tough, and we've talked to them and said, okay, it doesn't explain real well what the site does on the website. You can ask around, you can kind of figure out what happens here once you buy it and what it can do. So we just figured it'd be helpful, since we had so many people asking us, that we might as well share what we know about it. So there's many ways to use it. I guess that's the first way to describe it. So without getting lost in the details, I'm just going to give you kind of a quick overview of one way you can use it. You can then take that information and think about different ways you could apply it to your situation. But here's something just drawn up, just making stuff up here. Colorado Plumbing. So let's say you want to have a website, or you got a company or a client, or you want to do some lead gen in Colorado Plumbing. Okay. So maybe you want to divide that out by counties. It might be an easy way to administer it and break it down. And then you're going to have cities, city 1, 2, 3, blah, 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 blah. And then in your next county, you got another city, city, city. Okay, so you get the idea. So on a small level, this isn't a big issue, right? With a local site, let's say if you take this down a notch, and let's say you're just talking about a city, and maybe even a large city, like Phoenix or Seattle, or Philadelphia. Okay, you've got the surrounding communities, things like that. So maybe you think, okay, well, I got to write like 10 different pages to really geo-target some of these areas. So, maybe not a lot of fun, but you can generally manage that, or you can outsource that pretty quickly. Okay, so then what if you're targeting a state and you want to hit every single town, say above 10,000 people? In some places that becomes a pretty large undertaking. Now let's say you want to go national. Okay, so I think you're getting the idea here that once you start going into larger and larger geographical areas and still targeting the smaller areas as well, you can run into some logistical issues. Additionally, one of the main ways we use Serp Shaker is to test markets. Okay, and so all we mean by this is, let's say we have a client, or we maybe want to start a lead gen service in a niche, and for this I'm just going to use plumbing. So maybe we're going to go with emergency plumbing. And we want to know which markets are going to be the easiest to rank in. Okay, I don't want to make videos, and specific sales pages or landing pages for every single city to find out which one is going to rank the best. Or rather, I should say, I want to do that, but I don't want to take the time. I don't have 20 years to do this. So what you can do is use Serp Shaker to really quickly build out a site and then sit back and see if it's going to rank. So by doing this, you're allowing Serp Shaker to do the work. Once you set it up, you can sit back, take a look, see what's ranking. And if things start to go well in one area and not in the other, great. You found the area you can hit. Maybe one geographical area is much more saturated, or what have you. So with that said, let me show you kind of the nuts and bolts of the plugin, which, if I haven't said it yet, it's a plugin for WordPress. So what you have once you install it is this little tab here called Shaker Pages. Alright, we'll get to that in a minute, but you have Add New, which is add a new page, which is what is going to basically have your pages built out of, or post. You have categories, tags, shortcodes, dynamic shortcodes, okay, and so a bunch of other stuff. So for this video, like I said, it's more of an overview. I'm just going to show you how this works in general. And then in the other videos, we'll get into some of this stuff like advanced silo setups, dynamic shortcodes, and other things you can do. Excuse me. Okay, so I've clicked on shortcodes, and I have already set these up. So if you just made this new, you wouldn't have anything. You just click Add Shortcode. But I have city, state, and state short. So I'll show you what these are. So like city, you have an area where you can copy and paste in cities. So it's starting at Alabama, see Birmingham, Montgomery, Mobile, and then going down from there. Alright, so if we go back out, we go to state, You can see how it's set up, Alabama, because all those first cities were Alabama, and so all this is going to do is match them up. So when I combined using these short codes in the post, it's going to take these sequentially. All right, so and then the same thing for state short. So let's add a new page, and I'll show you how this works real quick. Okay, so this is going to be nothing complicated. I'm just going to type this as we go. So I'm going to put a title here, and let's say we were targeting, plumbing. That's what we said in city, comma, state. All right, and this is just to show you what it looks like. This is not me advocating how to write your titles. Okay, and then in here we're going to write something, plumbing why am I typing that? That's horrible. Should be using these. So you can get your short codes right here from this drop down. So plumbing in city, comma, then maybe short state is what I want. Is really important. Alright, and so you don't die of boredom, I'm going to type something out real quick and we'll be right back. Okay, so just made a real quick paragraph or two here about plumbing, and included a call to action here. Obviously you'd want to have more. And what you can do is build out a spun article before you come in here, and then you can paste it in. Or you can tie in, they've got the spinner. Once it's saved, you can attach spin rewriter and I believe Word AI through the API. So let me save a draft. And then we'll go in here and, okay, there it is, now it pops up. So I have spin rewriter attached, so I'm going to go ahead and try that. And you can set that up in the settings so you can see how, with the options with all the spinners, you have different levels of confidence, things like that. So that doesn't look like a spun page. Let me see here. Okay, so I had some issues in the settings, so I just went ahead and grabbed a quick spin and pasted it in there. So I'll go ahead and save the draft. And then, okay, so one of the other things you can do here is if you want your H1 page, the page H1 or the post title to be different than what you put in here to become the slug, you can put that down here. So if for some reason maybe I didn't want the location modifier in the URL, but I wanted it in the title, something like that, so you can do something different. So just for example, I'll put plumbing in this city. Alright, save draft. Okay, so right now I have it set to post of output type, and what you can do is enter a shortcode. So let's say I wanted to build all of this out at once, and I was covering several states. So what you could do if you have that shortcode, you could just put in here state like they've said, and as it goes through it'll create a category and put it into that category. Alternatively, you could put in city, you could put in nothing, you could also build this out as pages. Okay, and then you could create a page and then nest it in there. So for example, let's say if I switch this over to pages, it should change down here. Okay, so well, it's the same thing, you can put it down there and it'll nest it under that. So for example, if I created a page called Alabama and then I build it out a state at a time and say I want to put this under Alabama. So for this example, I'm just going to do post, build it out real quick, and we're going to put state in here. And I'm not going to build them all out because I've got a pretty large list in there right now. So that's the other thing. If you have a really large list, so I mean, let's say you're covering, all the towns or cities in the U.S. and you've got tens of thousands, it becomes necessary for most hosting, not all. You can build these sites out on your desktop where you've got much more availability of resources that can go towards doing this and won't won't bring down the server, and then you can upload that. So there's ways to do that. Again, we can give you resources or point you in the right direction for that if that's something you need, but that would be in a later video. For this, what you can do to test too is to just put out a few pages. So I'm going to just make 35 posts, and then just click build. Alright, we'll give it a minute. It is cranking out 35, so we'll give it a second here. Alright, so it says it's been updated. Let's take a look. So right now, this is just a blank test site. Okay, this was what I had before, so go ahead and refresh and see. Okay, so it looks like I've got Alabama, got 17, Alaska, 3, Arizona. So what it did was it went through Alabama, it built all 17 that I had in the database or in the shortcodes. And then it went through, and it looks like it got through Arizona, of which there was probably 15. And then it went into Alaska, which there was 3, or probably partially got through Alaska. Okay, so just because this is just a test blog I've got set up here, obviously this isn't, it's just a stock WordPress theme. So you can see though, okay, plumbing in Sierra Vista, Arizona. Okay, and then you've got the rest of the spun content. Surprise, Arizona, and also you can see now the title is what we set it to, kind of stupid sounding, but plumbing in the city, and then the URL actually, which you can't see, but it's got the city and the state in the URL. Okay, so going back to quick, there are a couple more things you can do. There's a lot of linking you can do in here, so you can put in a link to next post. So if you just click this next post, you put in your anchor text, which can be spun. We're just going to say, what do you want your anchor text for the next post to be? I'll say, learn more about plumbing here. Okay. And then when that builds out, it's going to swap out the link. So when you build out your post, each page is going to link to a different page. And then you can do the same thing with previous. You can also do this with pages. Let's see. You can insert a Google map. You can insert a weather widget, and you can put YouTube videos in. Okay, so I'm not going to go through these again. We can go through these in more detail later. But the gist of these are you enter shortcodes for the maps. YouTube video, you're going to grab keywords and have some text.